When I'm usually reviewing a phone, I use it for the sole purpose of reviewing it, right? I either get it from the brand or I buy it myself. I review it, I make the video about it, and then I move to the next phone or I end up using the same phone if I like it enough. But with the Galaxy S21, although I made an initial impressions and an unboxing video, if you want to check that video out, I'll leave the link in the description box below. I then decided I didn't want to make a full review video of this phone because a lot of people are already talking a lot about this phone. So I kept on using the phone as it is, as my daily driver. But then one day, I decided that I need to talk a lot about this phone. So this is the Samsung Galaxy S21 1 month. Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up. I'm just doing me, everything is on me. Oh, you matter what? Now this will be a long video, so go grab your popcorns, grab your drinks, and I hope you stick around till the very end of this video. But if you do get bored at some point of time, you can always skip to your favorite part of the video by the timestamps right here. So let's start to talk about why I bought the Galaxy S21 in the first place instead of the S21 Plus or the Ultra. And that is because of its size and the design overall. Now, if you have been following me enough, you would know that I don't like big phones. And I would not say that the Galaxy S21 is a one-handed phone. I think the iPhone 12 mini still wins that race, but it's just the right size and it gives you that confidence that it will not trip off your hands that easily. And the aluminum frame really offers that heft and also makes the phone feel really premium in your hands. I also liked how Samsung has dealt with the camera bump this time around, and believe it or not, this phone actually comes with 3 microphones and dual speakers, one being the earpiece of course. So overall I would say in terms of design, the Galaxy S21 ticks almost all the boxes, but one. Now this brings us to one of the most talking points of the Galaxy S21. The plastic bag. Now people have had mixed opinions on the plastic bag and I have already given my opinion in my initial impressions video. But if you look at the plastic bag solely through the utility perspective, it is lighter in the hands, it is easier to repair, it supports wireless charging, and it will not get as warm as aluminium or glass while you're gaming or you're just shooting a 4K video or something. But that doesn't mean that Samsung is justified to use the plastic bag on a phone which costs at ₹70,000 here in India. So they didn't have any excuse, but it all comes down to your preference if you go for utility or the materials your phone is made of. That aside, I also like the button placement on this phone as well. The buttons first of all are made of aluminium, they are tactile and they are easy to find as well. And the haptics on this phone is really nice as well. And I think this is something that actually differentiates the flagship from other mid-rangers or budget phones. And I don't usually talk about haptics in my full reviews, but yeah, I think the haptics on the Galaxy S21 is one of the best out there in the industry. Now, I also like the fact that the Galaxy S21 comes with a flat display instead of the curved display. Now again, I know people have mixed opinion on this, but for me, flat display makes more sense because if you look at it again from the utility perspective, the curved display doesn't offer you that many features. It brings in those irritating distortion and glares on the edges. It is more fragile, and not to forget, having a curved display means having a lot more effort to put on a screen protector. Yes, maybe I'm nitpicking here, but that's exactly why I'm making this video, so that I can give you each and every detail. But coming back to display, the Galaxy S21 comes with a 6.2 inches Full HD Super AMOLED display, which this time comes with variable refresh rate. So it can go from as low as 48 Hz to as high as 120 Hz. So for example, if you're watching a YouTube video, the screen refresh rate would be somewhere around 60 Hz, thus saving up a little bit of the battery when compared to the Galaxy S20 per se, which would still be at 120 Hz if you choose to be so. So this will definitely save some juice in the longer run. And that said, I think I'll repeat this again, although MKBHD has already said this in one of his videos, you just can't go back to 60 Hz if you have already used 90 Hz or 120 Hz once, because it just makes a whole lot of difference. And the display, although it's Full HD resolution again, but it's sharp, it's vivid, and also it gets really bright, maxing out at 1300 nits. And we all know what Samsung is capable of when it comes to AMOLED displays. So I have no hesitation in saying that this might be one of the best Full HD AMOLED displays I have ever used on a smartphone. Now again, this could have easily been 1440p because again, considering the price tag of this phone, which is 70,000 rupees here in India, There is no excuse for Samsung to not include that. But if you are not pixel peeping, you will not notice a lot of difference in daily usage. Now inside this bad boy, we get the Exynos 2100, which is a 5 nanometer system on chip built on the same architecture as the Snapdragon 888 with Cortex X1 cores at its heart. Now my variant here comes with 8 GB of RAM and 128 GB of UFS 3.1 internal storage. But here is the deal. If you still go on the internet and search for Snapdragon 888 versus Exynos 2100, you will notice that Snapdragon 888 is still better in almost all areas. But let's not make this a Snapdragon 888 versus Exynos 2100 video. We only get Exynos 2100 Air in India, and I can only talk about that. So how does it fare in different situations? Well, I would say not bad. In fact, much better than Exynos 990 from last year. Now, if we keep benchmarks aside, along with those high-intensive GPU tasks that you will never end up performing anyway, the Exynos 2100 will perform like any other flagship in any given situation. So I never faced any lags, of course. The app load times were great as well. I played a lot of games, including some of the heavy-duty titles, and they worked just fine. I also used the Galaxy S21 with Samsung DeX a lot, and I faced no issues, no lags whatsoever. And honestly, I was surprised because I know Samsung's OneUI 3.1 is not one of the lightest Android skins over there. But that said, the Galaxy S21 performed like a flagship in this last 1 month. Now, how long this will last? Well, only time will tell. But if you're worried about the performance of the Galaxy S21, well, I would say it's a thumbs up from my side. And coming back to the OneUI 3.1 for a second, I was kind of apprehensive because this was my first time using the Samsung Android skin in about last 6 years. So I was very curious to know how Samsung has aged when it comes to Android skins. And I would say not that bad again. Samsung OneUI 3.1 is loaded with features as expected. It has by far one of the best implementations of dark mode in my opinion. You can literally customize anything on your phone. You have dedicated mode for gaming or for better battery life or whatnot. And then there is Samsung Pay, which I've been using a lot of late. Then there are AR stickers. Then there are a lot of features inside the camera app, inside the gallery app, my favorite being the object remover. So basically, if you don't mind exploring new features on your Android skin, Samsung OneUI 3.1 will serve you well. But one thing again I would like to point out here is that Samsung again shamelessly advertised their own products. So there was one instance when Samsung was actually advertising me to get the Galaxy S21 on the Galaxy S21, which is kind of weird. And also there is still bloatware. Yes, you can remove most of it, but it's still there. Now, one more thing where I was actually surprised from the OneUI 3.1 was the software updates. Now, I'm already on the latest security update from March, and I've already got about 4-5 software updates in my last 1 month of using this phone. So really nice to see Samsung upping their game when it comes to software updates. So to sum it up, I would say Oxygen OS is still my favorite Android skin, but Samsung OneUI 3.1 isn't that bad. And this is where we come to one of the most important features of the Galaxy S21. The camera. Now on paper things aren't as exciting because it has the same specifications as the Galaxy S20 from last year, but it's not that bad because the camera on the Galaxy S20 was not that bad either. And with phones, I think it's more about the post image processing than the raw hardware. But if you keep the camera specifications aside, how are the photos taken from the Galaxy S21? Well, the primary 12 megapixel camera takes really good photos. I mean, in broad daylight, it's the most easy to take photo camera sensor, and the photos generally look amazing. The color tones are slightly on the warmer side, but that's classic Samsung, and the images overall looked really great in my opinion. Now, despite being at 12 megapixels, the level of details is also not that bad. There is no over sharpening, that's good, and the photos looked quite natural as well. Dynamic range when HDR on does make a huge difference, although I would say it was tiny bit more aggressive for my liking. The 12 megapixels wide angle sensor works great too, at least in broad daylight. The colors on the wide angle are slightly on the cooler side when compared to the primary camera. It is slightly less sharp when compared to the primary sensor again, while I was really impressed with the dynamic range in the photos taken from this sensor as well. The 64 megapixel telephoto lens also works great, although I didn't end up using it a lot except for some portrait shots. It only offers 1.1x optical zoom and 3x hybrid zoom, so the level of detail is not that impressive when compared to a dedicated telephoto zoom lens. That said, it's still nice to have a telephoto camera sensor on the Galaxy S21. Now, when we move indoors or in a challenging lighting environment, the primary camera shines again, and it performs the best amongst the three as expected, I would say. There is some noise here and there, but the photos still looked great overall. The wide angle and the telephoto lens struggle a little bit with the focus in low light environment, but the portrait still looked great, which was surprising. And talking about portraits, I felt that the default level of blur that Samsung applies in the portrait mode was a little too harsh, but thankfully you do get an option to manually adjust the blur and also play around with a bunch of other effects in the same menu. Apart from that, Samsung's camera app offers you a ton of other modes like single take mode, where the camera will take a short video, photos with different filters, GIFs, all in one take. Super useful if you can't decide which mode will work best in a situation. Then there is of course Pro mode, which lets you take full control over how your photos will look from the viewfinder itself. And if you flip the phone around, the 10 megapixel selfie camera works great too, and Samsung now gives you an option to go for either natural skin tones or add a bit of smoothing like before. Of course, I prefer the natural skin tones, and the overall pictures from the front camera look great as well. I really like how camera software would automatically switch to a slightly wider field of view when it recognizes more than one person in the frame. I mean, more than its hardware, I think Samsung's software makes a huge difference, especially when you're using the camera on the Galaxy S21. Now, when we jump to the video, the primary and the wide angle camera can actually shoot at 4K at 60 FPS, while the telephoto lens can only shoot at 4K at 30 FPS. And the video quality overall, I would say, is really great with the S21. The colors are again on the warmer side as it was with the photos. The stabilization is decent, although there is a super stabilizer mode that will make a huge difference if you want that super stabilization in your videos, but that will bring down the resolution to 1080p. But yeah, I had no issues with the autofocus as well, and the SDR was also really good on the S21 thanks to the SDR10 Plus. But what Samsung really bragged about while launching the Galaxy S21 was their 8K video recording capabilities on this phone. And I would say the footage shot in 8K from this phone is kind of useless, because first, you can't really play it back on your phone, on especially the S21, because it only has a 1080p, and secondly, who is recording 8K footage from their phone only? But what really amazed me is that you can actually take out pictures after you have shot the 8K footage from this phone, and those are some high resolution pictures. You can actually use it to upload them on Instagram or anywhere else. Now this, I think, is an extremely useful feature, because this way you can actually take a lot of pictures that you would have otherwise not even imagined to take from the primary camera. And then there is of course the director's view, which lets you shoot videos from all the 4 camera sensors at once, and you can also switch between your primary and the wide angle and also the telephoto lens. Samsung has also introduced something called a portrait video that will blur the background around you, and also there is a pro video mode as well now in the Galaxy S21 camera app that will give you full control over your video, including the microphone. Yes, you can exactly choose which microphone you want to use while shooting videos, and you can also attach an external microphone via USB or Bluetooth. The only bummer is that you can only use the Pro video mode from the rear camera, because if it would have supported the front camera as well, that would have made for a perfect vlogging setup as well. And to wrap things up, the Samsung Galaxy S21 also offers you modes like hyperlapse and of course super slow-mo that can shoot 720p at 960 fps and 1080p at 240 fps. We have already talked a lot about the Galaxy S21, like the camera, the performance, the display, the design, everything else, but we still haven't addressed the elephant in the room. Yes, the lack of charger inside the box. So if you already don't know, the entire Galaxy S21 series will not get a charger inside the box. And Samsung will claim you that they have done this move to save the environment, but they still give you a USB-C to USB-C cable inside the box, while all the previous Samsung phones came with USB-A to USB-C chargers. So I'm not sure what they're really intending to do here. But that aside, I still bought the original Samsung 25-watt charger, and in terms of endurance, I would say the battery life on the Galaxy S21 is sort of average. Now it comes with a 4000 mAh battery inside, and on a heavy day, I would say I was getting around 5 to 6 hours of screen on time with my phone dying at about 5 p.m. And on a relatively chill day, I was getting about just under 5 hours of screen on time with my phone still having 30% battery life before I went to sleep. And then there are a bunch of other stuff as well, like the Galaxy S21 can now use its native camera sensor in third-party apps like Instagram and Snapchat. So if you have been kind of disappointed with how your Instagram and Snapchat behave by clicking pictures on your Android phone, S21 will solve that problem. I also like the speaker output on this phone. It gets really loud in my opinion, and also then there are things like the new improved in-display fingerprint scanner, and also a smart blue light filter called the Eye Comfort Shield that I think kind of gives this phone a slight edge over most similar priced phones in the market. The call quality was again brilliant. I faced no issues at all, and the fact that it comes with Dolby Audio will definitely enhance your music listening experience if you happen to use a lot of earphones or also Bluetooth earphones. So to sum it up, I would say the Galaxy S21 is the perfect utility phone that thrives on its software experience. Yes, there are downsides, and yes, there are some non-negotiable cut downs as well. For example, it comes with a plastic bag, the 1080p display, no SD card as well, I forgot that part, and also the lack of power adapter in the box. But if you're looking for a compact flagship that will give you the same level of performance as other flagships in the market without losing out on most of the important features, I think the Galaxy S21 is the phone to get. But on the other hand, if you want the best of the best and if you don't mind a larger form factor, I think the Galaxy S21 Ultra is still the best Android phone right now in the market. Yes guys, this was my full review of the Galaxy S21 after using it for 1 month. Let me know in the comment section below how did you like this video, and if you did, make sure you comment down your favorite feature of the Galaxy S21. And I've also made a bunch of other videos around this phone already on my channel, so make sure you also check that out, and make sure you share this video with your friends and family who are looking to get the new Galaxy S21 for themselves. So before you leave this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button and especially hit that bell icon so that you get notified whenever I upload more such content in future as well. So till then, keep asking, and I will see you in the next one.